Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Bound to Talk Football. It is week 4, and I'm your host, Blake Walker, alongside my partner, Paul Arridge. Paul, I got to ask you, that picture, is that a picture on your back wall, or is that a TV?
Oh, yeah.
It's a picture?
Yeah.
Is it just starry sky, or what do you got
It's
back there?
the Hubble deep space picture.
Oh.
Galaxies. Yeah. Big space guy.
I was going to say, deep down? All right. The more we know.
Big space.
I just had to know because I've seen it in the background of like all your stuff. I'm like, there's no way that's a TV unless he's got that Michael Scott TV that he's just looking up.
Little 5x5. Nah, it's a picture.
Cool.
Nice.
We're in week 4, which doesn't seem real. The season has flown by already, but luckily we're not quite halfway. Even next week, we technically won't be halfway through the entire season because we still have playoffs and whatnot. But technically next week, halfway through is halfway. So take it as you is. We got some good games this week. What are you doing? So I was going to call Southeast Polk Centennial. We at CISN kind of have a contract with the Waukee schools that we have to call a certain amount of Waukee schools. We don't have enough crew, so unfortunately, we will not be having Southeast Polk Centennial on CISN. So that really stinks because it's going to be a great game. So for the first time this season, I just get to sit at home and enjoy football.
You're score watching.
Yeah, I know. We can get final scores out quick.
That's huge.
Pending photos.
Mm-hmm. It's huge. For me, same thing I've been doing. Locking in, getting these scores in. Making sure I catch a highlight if there's a big one, but yeah,
sweet.
We're on
There's a couple good games this weekend that we'll keep an eye out on. A lot of good live streams. Again, you can always check the live streams if you go to the scores tab on Bound, usually on the right side. Not every school has a live stream, and they'll just put it in there, but it's appreciated when schools do. Mm-hmm. It'll say like, "Hey, this game is being live streamed." You can click on the link, and it'll take you right to it. So, yeah. A lot of hidden live streams across the state, that's for sure. But
yeah,
cool. We'll jump right into our games. We'll start with Class 5A, where the action gets hot. We got 2-1 Ankeny Centennial taking on 3-0 Southeast Polk. This is a good game. I'm very excited for this one. We talked about it on our podcast yesterday. We recorded it literally today, technically.
Yeah,
because it was in the morning. But I think the biggest question I wrote down is, can Centennial's defense hold Southeast Polk? That's a big one. But can their offense keep up if the defense doesn't get going?
I mean, yeah, it's a tough one. This matchup, as we said in our other podcasts, hasn't been close for about, I believe now it would be 5 years. Centennial just hasn't been able to get it done. It's been blowouts. Yeah, it's going to be big for Trenton Smith to be able to keep up with Connor Moberly, which is a massive ask, obviously. And, I mean, Southeast Polk's defense is no slouch. They haven't really had a game where they've gotten torched. So, big ask for Centennial, but, I mean, I don't know. I'm going to check the spread right now. Wonder what they have it at. It's at 15 for Southeast Polk. Big number.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either.
I think it's fair.
Fair number.
I think it'll be a good game. I do. I truly think it'll be a good game. I hope if Centennial's going to do something, you got to get out quick because we've seen Southeast Polk really get things rolling early, and you need stops early. I mean, you can't just give them opportunities over and over again and expect to get going. You got to get a stop on one of the first 2 drives of the game if you're Centennial. I'm excited to see Trenton Smith. I really am. I think, last week, 6 touchdowns. It's hard to live up to that. But I think Chase Shuddy's the main difference maker in this game. We talked about it last week, just kind of talking ahead. DB-wise, for Southeast Polk, they're not very tall. Chase Shuddy's pretty tall, and he's pretty big. So I'm excited to see that matchup and how those shape up. I'm sure they'll double team him if need be, but I'm going to roll with Southeast Polk. I think, it's hard to pick against Southeast Polk right now, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do. I'm not going to pick against them. I think it'll be a good game, but I think Southeast Polk's just better.
Yeah, I mean, Centennial's got guys at the skill positions. They've got Elijah Porter, they've got Shuddy, I think it's Braden Jackson. So they've got guys that can get things done, but you're right. I mean, it's impossible to pick against Southeast Polk. That D line, Dravin Woods and Chubar is just, and Mason Vanderbrink is just loaded. And then, I mean, their offense has been ridiculous this year with Moberly leading it at the helm. Their passing attack has been the best passing attack I think I've ever seen from Southeast Polk in recent years. So
it's there. It's going to be a good game. You're picking Southeast Polk, so
yep.
There we go. Both going with the top dogs. We'll go to our next one. 2-1 Cedar Rapids Prairie takes on 2-1 Pleasant Valley. Prairie has got to get back on track. Last week was not fun. I guarantee nobody had fun last week. Pleasant Valley's defense really concerns me. They've given up a lot of points this year, even in wins. They have rushed for over 1,000 yards, which is pretty astounding through 3 weeks. You definitely can't shake your head at that. The big difference maker in this game for me is Prairie's passing offense. Will Phillips is decent when he doesn't turn the ball over. He's got some really good receivers. Apollo Payne is very good. I saw Apollo Payne make some incredible grabs last week. This game is just so interesting. I'm just worried about how Prairie responds. And despite this being a different Pleasant Valley team, Pleasant Valley really took it to them last year. I think it was like 37-6 was the final score, something like that. Mm-hmm. I give the edge to Pleasant Valley, but I still think this is going to be a really close game. But it's PV by a smidge for me.
Yeah, I mean, this one's probably the toughest game to pick in 5A this week, in my opinion.
I think so.
Two of the same type of offenses. I give the edge to Prairie in the receiving core. And honestly, QB is a battle. I think QB-wise passing, obviously. I mean, Pleasant Valley just straight up doesn't pass, so it's kind of hard to tell if Coy Kipper can throw the ball. But, yeah, this is going to be a grudge match. I lean PV, and I think that's mainly because Prairie 2 wins. I mean, Cedar Falls without Gelhas and Dubuque Senior.
Yeah.
Not the crazy.
That's another one, yeah.
And PV's got wins against Kennedy, which we both are very high on. And Iowa City Liberty, they dropped 56, which is pretty ridiculous. So I'm leaning Pleasant Valley here. It's going to be a good one. Probably the closest game, like the most down to the wire, like -3 spread for one team.
That's pretty good. I agree. So we'll go Pleasant Valley, both of us on that one. Should be a good one. 3-0 Dowling takes on 2-1 Waukee Northwest. It's an intriguing game in some ways because I don't know. Do we know much about Dowling yet? That's kind of the big question that around everyone's mind. Northwest has to not turn the ball over. I mean, it's plain and simple. I was talking to Kapadich yesterday for the CISN football pregame show, and he's like, Sam Johnson's been great. We got to get his turnovers down. Kid's thrown 6 picks this season and 3 touchdowns. So you can do the math there. It's not a great, but he's improved. I think that's a big one. Like he's better than he has been. It's just you got to get them down, and you have to force turnovers. Dowling is not, besides that Valley game, Dowling really hasn't turned the ball over a ton. They fumbled a couple times in that Valley game. That was a crucial one. But Cataldo, you got to force a couple mistakes because they haven't asked as much of him. And ironically, I talked to Tom Wilson yesterday as well. He's like, we don't want to give Rashad Davis 35, 40 carries a game, but he's like, unfortunately, we had to against Valley. So basically what I'm saying is Northwest defense has to show up or else Dowling could just run away with this thing again.
Yeah, I think the big thing we're going to be looking at is for Waukee Northwest is how their run defense shapes up. I think it's pretty obvious at this point of the season, at least, that's Dowling's goal is to run the ball down your throat and then hit you with play action or catch you when you're not expecting it. Curtis Horace or, I mean, they honestly have a pretty good wide receiver, Trey Wilson and Hank Brown. So, yeah, they're good. Dowling, I've got them winning pretty handily. Walking Northwest just hasn't been able to really compete with Dowling ever, except for apparently 2021 they competed.
What was the final score of that game?
17-10.
So that was the year Dowling lost to Iowa City High.
Yeah.
So
I don't even remember that game.
I think I do vaguely. I know it was at Northwest. That's all I remember. So
Rankin. That's a gap. Wow. A lot of names I just forgot about when I looked at that. Parson Brown too. Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's a hard path for Waukee Northwest to win this. But hey, beat Waukee. That was a big one. And then riding high off that Roosevelt blowout. So you never know.
Cool. We'll both roll with Dowling. 3-0 Bettendorf takes on 2-1 Linmar. Statistically, Paul, both these teams are actually pretty even, more than you'd think they are. The question on my mind and everyone's mind, how does Linmar respond? You obviously don't have your star player, which is a big loss. You didn't look great last week against Kennedy. And this is a Bettendorf team that I feel like should have all sorts of momentum. So I'm taking Bettendorf because I think confidence is a huge part of this game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm rolling with Bettendorf based on how good their defense has played this year. I believe they've only been averaging giving up 10 points a game. Or no, it'd be even lower than that probably because of the third game where they blanked Davenport West. So, I mean, Kennedy dropped 0 against Cedar Rapids Kennedy, which is just not ideal, obviously. Can't win a game.
Linmar dropped 0 against Kennedy.
Apologies, my bad. Linmar dropped 0 against Kennedy. Yeah, that's the main reason I find it hard. And then we obviously know they don't have Roscott, which is their best player at D1, tight end and defensive. Plays on both sides. So we both rock with Bettendorf there. They've been much improved. Their defense looks like the normal Bettendorf defense we've seen.
Yeah, I agree. Bettendorf reminds me of Iowa City High from a couple years ago. The Iowa City High team, ironically, that beat Dowling. They just kind of, I think their schedule's favorable. They're good. I don't think they're championship good, but I would not be surprised if they made it to the Dome. That's just kind of how it's worked out. But we'll both take Bettendorf in that one. Let's move to last one that we're really deep diving into. Dubuque Hempstead is 3-0, and we have not talked about them at all. I kind of feel bad, but shout out Dubuque Hempstead, 3-0. Takes on Muscatine at 1-2, and you're probably like, what in the world are you talking about Muscatine? Well, the streets are saying that Ty Kozad's coming back this week. He has not played in the first 3 games of the season. It's heavily rumored that he will be playing this week. Does that make a difference to you statistically? Do you think that pushes Muscatine over the hump and they can get their second win of the year and get back on track? Or do you think Hempstead gets back going and takes it 4-0?
I think there's a very real chance Muscatine actually wins this now that Kozad's back. And I mainly think that because, yeah, you're going to agree. I mean, looking at the opponents Hempstead's faced, none of them jump out to me. And their offense hasn't put up a crazy amount of points. It's amazing.
I will say
they are 3-0.
That Waterloo West team is interesting. I get to call their game next week against Waukee Northwest. Waukee Northwest should not be sleeping on Waterloo West. I'm just saying. That's a decent Waterloo West team. But I agree with you. I think if Kozad is playing tonight, I like Muscatine in this one.
Yeah, me as well. We saw Muscatine beat them last year. So,
yeah.
Not that it matters.
Nothing against Hempstead. It's great. If they go 4-0, then, we'll start talking about Hempstead more. I just think Kozad's a big difference maker that people don't realize for Muscatine.
I'm surprised Muscatine got a win without it. Shout out Muscatine. No offense to them.
We'll go quick thoughts, very quick thoughts. Give me your quick pick, quick thoughts on the rest, other notables. It's kind of funny that these next games are no other notables, but that's just how it goes. Ankeny versus Johnston. Quick thoughts. What do you think?
I actually think this is going to be a very close game, mainly because we've seen Johnston kind of struggle with these teams that stick around. Chance for Johnston to make a statement, but I actually think Ankeny can hang around. I think it's going to be in the 20s scores-wise for both these teams. I don't think it's a shootout. Defensively, Ankeny's got to worry about Will Nelson-Simpson.
That's my thing. I'm going to pick Johnston. I think Ankeny has all the right to be full of momentum and like anger coming into this game after what happened last year. But you got to think a lot of those players were gone that were
Yeah.
starting in that game. So, doesn't mean as much for some of those players. I think Johnston wins, and I think Yankees defense still just got to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
For the time being, that's what I'll think about for Yankees defense. So I'm going to take Johnston. Waukee versus Valley. Is this the week Valley gets it going? Because I keep wondering. I hate to say it, for the rest of the year, it just feels like we're going to be like, is this it? Is this it? Is this it? This is a good game. Waukee looks good. What do you think?
I mean, this is a big, like, monumental game for Valley because at this point, you can't just drop these games. These are kind of must wins, RPI wise and playoff wise. Their schedule is going to carry them. Their strength of schedule to probably the playoffs if they just get 4 or 5 wins. But I mean, they need this one bad. Waukees look good. They literally were, 11-point comeback away from saying they're 3-0, and we probably are very high on them if they're 3-0 in that situation. So Valley's got to get something going. I worry about their offense. Hasn't really shown anything the past 3 weeks. I'm kind of riding with Waukee here, but it's tough because Valley was supposed to be. They've hung with Southeast Polk, and they're the only team that's done that. So
It'll be the best defense that Waukee has faced this year by far. So I'm curious to see how they're ready for that because that is going to be tough. I like Waukee, but it's barely. I mean, I would not be surprised if Valley goes out and wins this game. But
yeah,
I'll take
battle.
Yeah, I'll take Waukee barely. Last 5A games, Cedar Falls takes on Liberty. Oh, I don't know, man. Cedar Falls is just we don't know. We don't know. I think we know who Liberty is. They're a very good team that turnovers cost them, and the defense has to step up. I think that's a big one for them because they've given up 35 plus in 2 of their 3 games this year. I think I'm going Cedar Falls. I'm not giving up on Cedar Falls just yet. I think they're still good, but they got to get together some consistency. It's in the Unidome, which Cedar Falls is tough to beat at the Unidome. Just ask Johnston. I think Cedar Falls wins this game.
Yep, it's my entire reasoning. It's at the Dome. Cedar Falls plays really good at the Dome, and I think run defense wise, they've kind of been meh this year for Cedar Falls, but I think pass defense wise, they can maybe do something. No, Trenton Smith just dropped 6 tutties on them, so it's kind of crazy for me to say that. But I think Eastern Iowa wise, they'll be able to hold it down. Especially, I just like Cedar Falls in the Dome. It's kind of my main reasoning.
I'm really
still not leading them in rushing yards.
I'm really gonna miss when they're not in the Dome, which will be soon. Like their high school field's pretty much done.
Oh,
what's up?
Gelhaus hasn't played a game yet.
Has he not?
No,
I thought he has.
No, he has not.
Interesting. All right. Well, I'm still taking Cedar Falls.
Still rolling with them. All right.
But you got to think, once he comes back, different team. It's like Muscatine with Ty Kozak.
That guy's playing both ways in the linebacking core. Switching the pick. I'm going Liberty.
Okay. There you go. There's your 5A games. Pretty good week for 5A. We'll see what happens. We'll jump down to 4A. 3-0 Norwalk takes on 2-1 ADM. Couple thoughts on this one. How does ADM respond with no Brevendal? Brevendal is out for the year. You got to move past that. You got to put that in the rearview mirror, move on. It's Aiden Flores' team, who ran for 330-some yards last week, despite having no Brevendal. So he can do it. Aiden Harder, the key to Norwalk. How many points do we see? I'm going to go bold take here. I think Norwalk handles ADM tonight or on Friday night. Well, tonight.
Wow, weird. Me and you are just step for step today.
Really?
I think my big thing is I think Eli Robbins is like legit. Like he's a dog. Sophomore. He's a wide receiver at Norwalk. Plays both ways. He's been really good this year. I just watched his tape, and that's why I'm high.
What's the most amount of points Norwalk's given up this year?
I mean, let's
15?
Yeah. No, 32 against Carlisle, but it was a blowout.
Okay.
I don't know how. Let me check the fourth quarter total. That was heading into the fourth. It was a 10-point game. Wow, that was a close game.
Okay, first game of the year. I'm not,
I don't count it,
nothing against first games of the year. I just think Norwalk's defense is pretty good. I think they're pretty good. I think this is going to be. I'd give Norwalk by. This is going to come back to bite me. I think Norwalk wins by 15 plus in this type of game. I expect high scoring. I expect one of these teams to be in the 40s. But how does ADM respond?
Yeah, they kind of got a gut-wrenching shot.
Just watch. I can see it now. There's going to be some kid we have never heard of that's going to play running back tonight and just go off for ADM. Just be like, all right, it's my time. I'll take over. And then we're going to be like, all right, ADM's right back in it. But you need this game if you're ADM.
Nah, I'm with the Norwalk pick. I think they go in and get it done. I think Harder's been phenomenal this year as well. So
I feel like if is it just me? We need a guest on here. I really want Aiden Harder. I feel like we got to get him on.
Gotta get Harder on.
Yeah, Aiden, if you're listening, contact us. We'll contact you, but I think we should chat. I think you'd be a good first guest. You're tearing it up. Lewis Central 2-1 takes on Bondurant 2-1. Well, this is a toss game for me. Whoever commits the turnovers will lose this game. That's football, baby. Titus Cram, big difference in this game. And Bondurant's defense has to show up. Has to show up. I want to hear what you want to say because I don't know who to pick.
I'm rocking with Lewis Central. I think they needed that win against ADM, and they got it. I know they lost Brevin Dahl mid-game, and that was the big turning point. But for me, what turns is I think Lewis Central's defense is going to be able to contain Titus at least a little bit. I think they've got guys that can actually tackle Titus a little bit and not get trucked. I think that's my main reasoning. I think Owen Thomas and that defense can do it, and I think Curtis Whitty is going to be able to get his. And I think it's a low. I have this being kind of a low score.
Really? I'm going to go with Bondurant. I still think week one just really hurt them. Week one was just a very tough loss to a very good North Polk team. I'll give them that. But I just think Titus Cram is just so good. I mean, he's a very good player. I think Lewis Central learned a lot from last week in the win against ADM, but their defense, both defenses, I do agree with you. I think this will be low scoring. I just like Bondurant's passing attack just a little bit more. They can beat you on the ground. They can beat you in the air. I think that's a big one. I'll go with Bondurant. I think, although whoever loses this game will be 2-2, and they'll be the best 2-2 team in the state. So take that as you go. But 3-0 Gilbert versus 3-0 Boone. Someone's going 4-0 here, and it's going to be a good 4-0. Paul, statistically, this game is very interesting because Boone is statistically a better team. Will Hawthorne to be very big on defense for Gilbert. I don't know, man. I know I just talked about it the other night or last night when we were recording the podcast. I'll go Gilbert, but I would not be surprised if Boone wins this game.
I'm going to go Gilbert, and I think I will be surprised.
Last year's game was really good. 24-18, Gilbert won.
That was 2020.
2020, sorry. Well, last time these two teams played.
Yeah.
I think – go ahead.
Sorry, I'm sticking with Gilbert. I'd be pretty shocked if Boone gets to win. I'm going off strength of opponents, and that's my main reason.
That's a good one that I don't look at. They haven't played a very good side. I'll take Gilbert, but I won't be surprised if Boone wins. How about that? All right, we're separate on that. Our 4A game of the week, 3-0 North Scott. No, it's not. It's not our 4A game of the week. Bondurant Lewis Central West. This could have been our 4A game of the week. 3-0 North Scott takes on 2-1 Western Dubuque. Are we seeing a shootout in this game, Paul? Are we going to see 40-40 shootout?
I think we might be. And these two teams like to put up points. Western Dubuque, you like the upset pick here, right?
I do. I think Western Dubuque wins this game. I completely forgot that North Scott took care of business against these guys last year, 38-15. But
that was a way different team. I think they were
true.
Really young last year, right?
That's very true. I think ground game is crucial in this game, and I wrote down both these teams don't turn the ball over, so first turnover loses.
There you go. For me, I like North Scott in this one, and I'm doing my age-old, which bites me every single time I do it. I think North Scott is the best player on the field with Kyler Girardi. I think he's been ridiculous this year. I like them coming in on the road and getting the win. And I think this is what propels them to be like that legit team that everyone kind of is waiting for in 4A, besides Xavier, obviously. But I don't know. The casual might think that Xavier's kind of fallen off because of that Williamsburg loss. But me and you both
Those darn casuals. I tell you what.
darn casuals. Yeah, I like your first turnover lose. Yeah, these teams don't turn over the ball, so 8.1 yards.
It'd be a good game. Very good game. I wonder if there's a live stream. I might watch this game on Friday. There might be. I'm not sure. Other notables. Quick thoughts on this one. Decorah versus Independence. Decorah is 3-0. That's a sneaky team. Decorah, a lot of history over there. Former Iowa Hawkeye, Denver Broncos standout Josie Jewell went to Decorah, led them to the championship. I can't remember. I just know that I think there's no way Paul would know.
Yeah.
They played Bishop Heelan, and that's all I know. And I cannot for the life of me remember off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure Decorah won. Because the only reason I know that is because Grinnell made it to the Dome and lost to Bishop Heelan. And then Decorah, it was either Bishop Heelan.
Right.
What?
That just can't be right. There's no way the stats are right.
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
There's a dude with 54 tackles right now on Independence. That just can't be right.
All right,
I'm going on a deep dive here. I don't know if you want to keep talking because.
Okay, so Decorah, good team. Independence, solid. 2-1 on the season. I like Decorah. They're just a solid, tough, gritty team. Like, I think of Decorah, I just think like a bunch of big guys on the line. Like, just you're not going to beat them in the trenches. Decorah is just big. I'll take Decorah in this one. I think Independence is good. Independence gets a home game.
Sorry, I interrupted.
So, dude has 54 tackles.
He's had back-to-back 20-plus tackle games. Bro, I should make a post about this guy. What the heck?
Who is he?
Tate Wood. Welcome
Tate
to your
Wood.
Kodak moment.
That's a football name. No wonder.
Tate Wood, I mean, he's lighting it up.
54 tackles this season.
54 with 5 TFLs, too. He's not even just wrapping up, like, cheap tackles.
Dang.
Throwing a fumble recovery.
Dang. Is Tate Wood going to win Defensive Player of the Year?
Deploy already? Bro, that's ridiculous. He's on pace for, like, 150? A math that I don't even know.
Like 150, honestly? Yeah. What's the record? Like, not 8-player. I'd be curious.
That's probably in the Drew. I think Drew Campbell had like 140, 130.
Who are you taking, Independence or Decorah? I feel like you have to take Independence because you just read that set.
Hyped up my boy Tate Wood.
All right. We can't. Yep. Paul's taking Independence. I'll take Decorah. Go Tate Wood. Good luck. Have a good game. North Polk, Humboldt. North Polk 2-1. Humboldt 2-1. I think North Polk gets back on track.
Yeah.
Humboldt still doesn't have Lance Kuhn. So, I like North Polk.
Yeah,
I think last week
giving up points.
Yeah, that's a big one. So, we'll jump to 3A. Williamsburg 3-0 takes on Fort Madison 3-0. This game is our game of the week. Both teams statistically are pretty even. Actually, if you're Williamsburg though, defensively, you have 13 sacks on the season. That's unbelievable for me. That's unbelievable. This is a legacy game for Fort Madison's Marcus Guzman. I think he has got to step up big. I want Fort Madison to keep this close, but I just think Williamsburg's just so good, man. I just don't think. I think this is a good 3-0 for Fort Madison. Honestly, this might be Fort Madison's only loss of the regular season based on their schedule. I just think Williamsburg's so much better.
Yeah. Do want to note that last week, Derek Weiskopf did not play.
All right.
So if they don't have him this week, it's a little interesting, I think. Not that, like, I will say Williamsburg isn't the type of team that's just getting carried by, like, a stud.
No.
They are balanced. Kellen Cockrell's been really good. That was our big question, right? Wasn't it defense? Who's going to
Quarterback.
play?
Yeah. 12 touchdowns this season, 3 picks, I think. So, I mean, he's finding his guys, and Wieskop isn't just the guy. Like, in the Xavier game, Wieskop wasn't even great on offense. If anything, Wieskop this year has been better on defense than he has been on offense. Yeah. That just means that he can turn it on offensively any game. So take that as you will. I think we're both going to take Williamsburg in this one. But
both going.
For Fort Madison's sake, let's see a close game. I think that'll be pretty fun. Nevada 3-0. How do you say it, Paul? How do you say it?
Nevada.
Yep, there you go. 3-0 Nevada takes on 3-0 Hampton Dumont Cal. This game is going to be another defensive shootout between these two teams. Hampton Dumont Cal can run the ball. That's a big difference in this game. This final score last year was 24-23. I think this Nevada team's a little bit better than last year's, obviously. I've just seen a lot defensively for Nevada that I think the Cubs get away with this one. Granted, I'm not picking the Cubs to lose the rest of the year up until the playoffs. And even then, we'll see what happens. But I think Nevada's very good.
Yeah, I'm with you. Me and you have been very high on the Nevada Cubs, so step for step with you for this one.
I don't want a 24-23 game. I'm going to need a little bit more by Nevada there. But defensively, they're just very good.
How about Hampton on 15 sacks on the year? For Hampton?
Yeah, that worries me a little bit. If you're King, first-year quarterback, King's got to make decisions and get the ball out quick. Kaysen Stevenson's going to be a big part of this team on offense. So we'll see what happens. And then Kunzeroth at the wide receiver position, I think that'll be key. So we'll see what happens, but could be a closer game than some people think. 3-0 Creston versus 1-2 Carroll. I just put this in here because that guy had that hot take yesterday. I just want to acknowledge Carroll. I think Creston's just so good, man. I think this Creston team could go to the Dome. That's how good this team is. I think Creston rolls in this one, and I don't think it's as close as people think it will be.
I'm Creston by a lot. I don't think this is going to be close.
I threw it in there because if we didn't throw it in there, people are going to be mad. 3-0 Mount Vernon versus 2-1 Solon. Solon is an ugly 2-1. Ugly 2-1. They beat Clear Creek Amana 7-6. Solon has to force turnovers. Their defense is not bad, but they just got to figure things out. Solon needs this thing to be low scoring. Solon could come back with momentum because last year Mount Vernon broke that really, really long streak of losing to Solon. Mount Vernon did. The Mustangs have looked good, but they haven't looked amazing by any means. The win over Benton, 19-7, very good ground attack team. Benton's better than Solon, in my opinion. I think Mount Vernon wins this game. I just haven't seen enough from Solon.
Yeah, I haven't seen enough from Solon offensively to even. Romberg's, it's a big quarterback mismatch, I feel like. And Mount Vernon, we did. Yeah, you're right. They haven't been like this unbeatable juggernaut yet this year.
They're very good on defense. Don't they have like 15 sacks or something like that?
They've given up a total of 13 points this year, 3 games.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they have 16. Dear God, dude.
Dang.
Yeah, I think Mount Vernon gets it done. That's such a big mismatch, that defense against that offense.
Yeah, absolutely. Last one for 3A. I don't have any notables because it's kind of a down week in 3A. Not many big ones. 3-0 Maquoketa takes on 2-1 Marion. Carter Meyer is a dog for Maquoketa. We talked about him as he was my standout last week. He is unbelievable. How about 6 interceptions by Maquoketa's defense? These guys are ball hawks. Marion's Caleb Dyers is kind of a jack of all trades on offense, can run the ball, can pass the ball. He can't turn the ball over. If Maquoketa's defense shows out again, which I guess points-wise, they give up a couple points. Like last week, they gave up, I think, 34 or 33, something like that. I think Maquoketa squeaks by here, but Marion's not bad.
I'm actually kind of surprised. Marion's got some
new stadium, too.
Alex Moda, that's why I'm surprised. No, I'm probably going to rock with Maquoketa, but I'm surprised they're 2-1. They've always they were kind of with Moda, they were always kind of like not insane, not great.
Yeah. So there's your 3A games. We'll go to 2A. This game, I still don't know. Actually, I do know. 3-0 Western Christian takes on 3-0 Cherokee Washington. Western Christian has given up 6 points in 3 games. Cherokee has over 1,300 rushing yards, which I think clears anyone in the state of Iowa. I honestly think that clears. This game is so tough to predict. I'm going to go with Western Christian.
And we are step for step.
Oh, man, I wanted to be different.
Yeah, I mean, dude, this is like the closest game. I mean, I looked at BC More spreads, and this is a 0.5 or something on
Wow.
the spread.
Here's
Don't know
my
how
thing.
accurate that'll be, but
Here's my thing. I think the win over Ridgeview last week was good. I don't think Ridgeview's that good. And they gave up 21 points to Ridgeview. I don't know if that was late, but I just feel like Western Christian, I just feel like they're just a little bit better. And I trust a defense that's only given up 6 points all year.
Mhm.
Cherokee Washington's schedule has not been very good. Neither of these schedules have been great. I just feel like I like the Wolfpack just a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, the sophomore quarterback, this is a big game for him. So
Yep.
you can talk into a little bit of experience. That experience route of Caden Van Regenmorter. That's a lot of words and a lot of letters. Oh my gosh. Hey,
I was going to say, I'm like, what's he going to say about what he just said?
Yeah, I mean, and I just looked at the Ridgeview game. It was 21-20 at half. So lean into your pick there.
I love Cherokee. They're going to get tested because I think they get Central Lyon next week or something like that, or in 2 weeks. But things get tough. 3-0 Van Meter takes on 2-1 Clarinda. Clarinda was an overtime away from this being a 3-0 versus 3-0 matchup. The Bulldogs have been an absolute buzzsaw since their win against Underwood. And Underwood looks very good. Clarinda's defense has to step up big in this game, and they have to finish games. I know that sounds so cliche, but you had to finish the game last week against Trainer. You were so close, and you just couldn't close it. Allowed Trainer to come back into it, and Trainer to get the win. I like Van Meter in this one. Like I said, I don't think Van Meter and Central Lyon lose the rest of the way, and I think we see a Van Meter Central Lyon 2-8 title game.
Yeah, I mean, they're throwing a sophomore quarterback and Noah Harris into the fire against that Van Meter defense. I think that's going to be a problem. And Ben Gordon's been exactly what we thought he'd be this year. So I'm rocking with the Van Meter as well.
3-0 Tipton versus 1-2 West Liberty. We talked about Tipton on our last podcast. I think Tipton goes 9-0, so I'm going to take Tipton in this game. The Tigers got to keep that rolling. In their 2 wins that weren't close, Vinton Shellsburg, you got to think their third-string quarterback was playing, so I understand why that game was close. But their other 2 opponents, they've completely blown out. Their offense looks very good. Liberty has to establish a running game. Riker Dengler is going to be a really big part of that offense for West Liberty at quarterback. Tipton, you don't even have to throw. I think you just got to keep this thing on the ground, and I think the Tigers are going to be okay in this one. I think it'll be closer than they think. West Liberty won this game last year, 16-8, but I like Tipton in this one.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like Tipton in this one. They're a home team here, and we both agreed that they kind of have an easier schedule, and we both think they'll be right up there in the 9-0 or 8-1. So I'm with you.
We have a photographer going to this game, Madison. This is so off topic, but Madison went to Waco and Winfield Mount Union for us. She's now she created her own page and she's just throwing her photos on there and she's like making quick little edits. It's kind of cool. Hopefully she still sticks with us, but don't get too big for us, Madison, but we appreciate it. And, I'm going to send her to a bigger game here soon, but I'm like, hey, you're right around Iowa City. There's some good small teams around Iowa City. So, we're going to get some Tipton photos tonight. Thank you, Madison. 2-1 Monticello versus 2-1 Anamosa. Both these defenses are pretty good. I think this will be a low-scoring affair. These 2 teams play each other like every single year, by the way. I think Preston Reese is the key to this one. Give me Monticello.
Yeah, I think Preston can get it done. That Mount Vernon game, 0 points since that game. Getting up 0. I'm working with Mount Vernon here. It's going to be, I think it's a low-scoring game, perhaps.
That's what I said, yeah.
Yeah, two
feels like it.
That are look like they're somewhat good. So, and man, Preston Reed's this year, 3 categories he's leading in one team.
Yeah, tackles, he's really doing well. So,
yeah.
A couple of the notables, just 2 teams that are getting close to 4-0. West Lyon takes on Unity Christian. West Lyon could go to 4-0. That's a good West Lyon team, man. We need to keep an eye on them. They get Central Lyon later in the year. Keep an eye on it. The Beef Bowl. Yeah. And then Sheridan takes on I-35. Sheridan could be 4-0. Good for Sheridan. Nice little start to the season. I think both West Lyon and Sheridan take care of business. I think Paul would agree. And both those teams get to 4-0. Let's jump to Class 1A, 3-0 MFL Marmac. Make sure to put the Marmac together, Paul, versus 2-1 Applington Parkersburg. Applington Parkersburg has forced 6 INTs this year. The rushing attack is key for both teams. Applington Parkersburg's only loss is to Grundy Center. This one is tougher than I think some people think it is. What do you think? Read me some stats.
I'm rocking with MFL, and I mainly am doing it because their rushing attack 6.7 yards per carry this year. Yeah, I like
Who
them.
have they played?
They have played New Hampton, Waukon, and Crestwood.
Yep. Okay. So pretty good teams. Yeah, I'll roll with MFL Marmac. But I would not be surprised if AP wins this game.
There you go. I mean,
yes.
Yeah. My main thing is both teams like to run the ball, and MFL's been better at it this year. That was my reason.
MFL Marmac. Make sure to leave no space between Marmac. 1-2 Dyke New Hartford takes on 3-0 Sumner Fredericksburg. You may see this stat or these scores or these records and be like, why are you talking about this game? It's because Dyke New Hartford is a pretty good team. I truly believe Dyke New Hartford is a pretty good team. How about this stat? Dyke New Hartford has scored 29 points this year, and they've given up 29 points this year, and they are 1-2. They have given up, correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, they have given up 14 points. No, they've given up 15 points. No, read it. Just tell me. What have they given up?
Last week they gave up 14. 2 weeks ago they gave up 7. And then Grundy Center, week 1, they gave up 6 or 7.
And they've scored 6, 9, 15.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't think we can't put into words how odd of a start this is. Like, this doesn't happen in Iowa high school football. You'll get your, 7-6 game. They just keep doing it. If they get an offense, then we're like, okay, think about it. Dyke New Hartford can be pretty good. Yeah. Davis Van Sickle is huge for Sumner Fredericksburg. And another thing I wrote down, sorry. Sumner Fredericksburg is the best offense Dyke New Hartford's faced all year. I think that's another big one. I like Sumner Fredericksburg in this one.
Over Grundy?
Statistically, yeah.
Okay.
Not saying it's going to stay that way, but as of right now.
Yeah, right now. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay. How about this? How many points is Sumner scoring this week?
10.
10? Are you serious?
I like my.
I'm going to be a little bit more generous. I'm going to say 21.
There you go. I'm waiting for Dyke New Hartford to get like that upset win that a team that has a really good defense gets every year.
Yeah. I still believe in Dyke New Hartford. They could lose this game.
Beat a team 13-6.
They could lose this game, and I'll be like, oh, you're still one of the better teams in the class. So
yeah,
keep an eye on this one, folks. This will be a good one. 2-1 Pleasantville versus 2-1 Pella Christian. Who responds better off a loss? I think this will be pretty high scoring. Pella Christian coming off a loss to Grundy Center. Pleasantville coming off a loss to Lenville Sully. Caleb Cook is the big difference in this game. I like Pleasantville in this one. I just don't think Pella Christian's defense can keep up.
Yeah, I'm with you on Pleasantville. The one thing that worries me about Pleasantville is they lost to Lenville Sully without Porter Nonharder. We'll have to figure out how good Linville is without him. But, I mean, that one's a little worrisome to me. But I'm kind of with you step for step. I think this is a similar thought process for me where both teams kind of like running the ball. And Pleasantville's been better at it. So, yeah, I'm rocking with Pleasantville.
Nah, I feel that. Speaking of Linville Sully, we'll jump down to Class A. 3-0 Madrid takes on 3-0 Linville Sully. These two teams seem very even. Paul, run me through. You're going to lead the charge on a couple of these because you were the ones that took the notes. Lead me through this game.
Yeah, I think the big thing for this game is going to be, can Linville Sully continue winning without Quarter Harder? We talked about how he's going to be supposedly coming back for the playoffs. So, I mean, it's big for them. They flew against Pleasantville. They were able to get a massive win against them. Where another thing is, can Preston Wicker from Madrid continue his great season that he's been putting up so far? They're coming off a massive win against it was Woodward Ranger, I believe, right? No, was it Mount Air?
Mount Air.
And they've had 2 games separated by 1 point. So
Yep.
they've been living in clutch. So I think this is a game where it's kind of hard to pick. I like
Linville Sully.
You like Linville Sully?
I think they have a DNA that they've been there before. They've gone to the Dome. I think they're good. I think Madrid's good too. I just feel like Linville Sully's better, just by a hair.
This is a tough pick for me. I think the reason I was thinking Madrid is
Madrid.
Madrid
is a city in what, Barcelona or something?
Yeah.
Is in Ecuador or something.
But oh god, this is a tough pick for me. Give me Linville Sully, but
all right,
I don't really like it that much. I think they're gonna slip up at some point without Quarter.
All right. I just know Troy Hyde from the Newton Daily News might be listening to this, and he's gonna be like, "Oh, you didn't pick Linville Sully." I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna pick Linville Sully." That's my pick. Linville Sully wins.
Gotcha.
3-0 ACGC takes on 3-0 South Central Calhoun. Run me through this one. I think this will be a good game.
Yeah, this is our game of the week, right? So will South Central Calhoun continue to put up 30 plus is one of my big things. Their offense has been on fire to start the year, and they're looking to continue that against a team that's given up in week 2 they give up 14. Week 1 they only gave up 19. ACGC, by the way, is who I'm talking about. But last week they did kind of get ran, 44 points put up on them. So that's my big question for ACGC. Can they contain South Central Calhoun? ACGC's rushing attack is one of the best in this class. They're averaging 6.7 yards per carry, and they barely pass the ball, by the way. 8 total pass attempts this year. And, BC Moore, which if you like them, they got South Central Calhoun favored by 10.
SCC made it to the Unidome recently, didn't they?
I believe so.
Yeah. I'm going to roll with South Central Calhoun. I think this will be a good game. I do. I think this will be a great game. Just giving up 44 was a big whoa. Okay. I think South Central Calhoun wins this game. Yeah.
I like South Central Calhoun mainly because I think they can run the ball and they have the ability to throw it. And Gavin Batt has been pretty good this year. He was off to a fire start last year, I remember, but this year he's kind of turned over the ball a little bit, 4 interceptions. But yeah, they can pass the ball at a pretty big clip, and then they've been rushing the ball pretty well. So,
yeah. Other notables, 2-1 West Hancock takes on North Union. Basically, can West Hancock rebound? Yes, I think they're going to rebound. I just think last week made them pretty mad. I think West Hancock should roll through that one. 3-0 North Butler versus 2-1 Wapsie Valley. I'm taking Wapsie Valley. Wapsie Valley's only loss is to Denver. Denver's a very good team. We need to be talking about Denver more, I think. I think Wapsie Valley gets past North Butler. I just think North Butler's schedule hasn't been as favorable. What are your thoughts? Anything?
I'm kind of with you, Wapsie Valley. I like Wapsie Valley mainly because their schedule, I feel like, has been a little bit better. I think Denver, I agree with you. I think Denver's legit. They blanked 2 teams, too. That's big for me.
Yeah.
So.
2-1 Earlham versus 2-1 Southwest Valley. This one, tell me about this game. You got anything on this game? I think I'm
Put it on
leaning
the
early.
because they're 2-2-1 teams. One of them's about to be 3-1. Um, as for teams, I don't know much about either. But Earlham only lost to ACGC by 2 tutties. I believe it was a close game at the
Who'd they
end.
beat last week?
They
IK
beat IK and Manning, yeah.
Okay, and they were undefeated. So
Were you high on Red Oak? I can't remember. No, it's not Red
I
Oak.
don't.
It's not Red Oak. It's a different team in the Western Iowa area. And also, Southwest Valley got murked by South Central Calhoun. I'm leaning Earlham. But
Yeah, that's what I
threw
was going to
this
say.
game on just because 2-2-1 teams could be huge for playoffs for them.
Sweet. We'll both go Earlham. Let's jump to 8-player and wrap this thing up. Our 8-player game of the week. It was a little controversial, but it's 2-2-1 teams. Why not? Someone's going to 3-1. 2-1 Harris Lake Park takes on 2-1 New Fonda. This is Max Carlson of New Fonda versus Lucas Arnstorff of Harris Lake Park. They both run and they both pass, and they both lead the team in both categories. Harris Lake Park turns the ball over a lot, and that really worries me. I think New Fonda wins this game.
There you go. I like Harris Lake Park. Picked them mainly because, I looked at BC Moore, and that was a big one, and they're also the home team. So that's my big thing. They do turn over the ball quite a bit, though, and that's going to be a problem. Can't really be turning over the ball.
Your pick's locked in. That's too bad,
High IQ statement for football. Can't turn over the ball.
It's very simple. Just don't give the ball to the other team.
Don't turn it over.
I'll take Noah Fonda. He'll take Harris Lake Park. 3-0 Baxter versus 2-1 Glidden Ralston. Glidden Ralston's only loss is by 1 point to Arweva. So Baxter, very good passing attack. Glidden Ralston, very good defensive attack. Baxter's defense has not been phenomenal. They're going to have to show up. Gilden Ralston's defense has not sacked the quarterback yet this year. You're looking at another high-scoring affair. I just like Baxter with the quarterback and wide receiver combination that they have between Trayton and Polsey, or whatever his name is. Rolsey? I can't remember.
I'm with you. I think Baxter can kind of just throw the ball and also run the ball. I think Gilden's kind of a one-dimensional offense. That's kind of my point.
Absolutely. 3-0 Key. The Keyhawks take on 2-1 Don Bosco. Don Bosco's only loss is to Gladbrook Rhinebeck, who I'd argue is the number one team in the class. This is Key's toughest game of the year so far, so you truly get a test. Don Bosco can't turn it over, plus they need to force turnovers. Key sets me apart because these boys have 9 interceptions as a team, and Dalton Mutterman, who is also the quarterback for Key, who has been tearing it up, he has 5 interceptions.
Yeah.
I like Key in this one, and I think this puts Key near the top as teams that we need to be keeping an eye on.
That's crazy. There's 5 interceptions at quarterback.
9 picks might lead the state just overall in terms of team.
That's got to at this point of the season. That's ridiculous. This is an even on the stat sheet.
Yeah, it is. Because Don Bosco's only loss is Gladbrook.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm gonna roll with Don Bosco, and I'm gonna roll with them because of strength of schedule. And the Don Bosco name, they do rush the ball really well, 8.3 yards a carry, but so does Key. So that's what I was kind of talking about. It's tough pick.
Run me through the next one. 3-0 Winfield Mount Union versus 3-1 Montezuma. This is on a Saturday at 3:00, by the way.
Yeah.
So
randomly on a Saturday at 3:00.
Run me through it. We talked about it last night a little bit,
but big question for me is Cam Buffington. Can he continue to do what he's been doing this year? It's been ridiculous. Every game, it's felt like he's put up 150 plus yards of total offense, and then just throws in 15 tackles because why not? He leads the Wolves in rushing, receiving, and tackles, which that is just ridiculous. But the big question is, can Winfield Mount Union slow down this Montezuma offense because they've been on fire this year? I don't have the exact stats. I'm about to pull them up actually right now for them. So Montezuma's dropped 67, 57, 47, and 64 this year. Literally not a single game below 40. or barely below 50.
Here's my hot take. They won't hit 40 on Saturday.
You got it. Hey, there you go. They got a sophomore leading them at the helm, Brady Bolton. Got 17 total tutties to start the year.
Tearing it up. I just think Winfield Mount Union's defense is so good. They held Waco to 8 points. I mean, I don't think. I just feel like this is Winfield Mount Union all the way.
And I will say, they've got a very impressive win against Central City.
Yes, that's looking better every single week, it feels like.
Yep. So I'm with you there.
A couple other notables to wrap things up. Moravia takes on Southeast Warren. That game will be in the 60s. I'll take Moravia just because of Shane Helmick. Gladbrook Rhinebeck takes on Dunkerton. Keep an eye. Dunkerton's not an easy team. Gladbrook Rhinebeck, obviously, number 1/number 2. St. Edmund takes on Audubon. Should be pretty good. Just kind of tossing that in there. Bedford takes on East Union. East Union's pretty good. I think Bedford, a lot of people are on the Bedford train after the Lennox game, but keep an eye on this one. Bedford, coming off a big win, you can't sleep. Got to wake up. Got to get ready for the next week. Keep an eye on East Union. What do you got? Anything?
For Bedford? No, I was just saying it's homecoming week for Bedford. Huge.
It is. So it's homecoming week everywhere. This week and next week, all homecoming week. So enjoy your homecomings. I'm trying to think. Homecoming was always fun. I always enjoyed homecoming. I was never a dances person. I just hated going to the dance. But the homecoming vibe, did you guys have a homecoming parade at Ankeny? Were you guys too big for that?
We didn't have a parade, but we would have themes throughout the day or throughout the week, and we had.
You guys were kind of lame.
Wow. Well, we beat Southeast Polk.
I just homecoming, man, so cool. It was my favorite week of the year at high school. I did love the themes. Me and my friends won best theme. It was TV/movie character day. We all dressed up as the Wiggles. It was perfect. We were stunning. We stunned Grinnell High School. We won best award for best dress that day. So that was awesome.
I hate when teams schedule a bad team for homecoming.
Yes,
dog.
I agree.
Dog. Why not?
Well, technically, okay, you don't schedule the team, but you can set when homecoming is. Yes, I agree. You're just we're just going to roll over these guys. Make homecoming important. And I guarantee, opposing teams know it's homecoming. You're yeah, I'll beat them on homecoming. So I think that's really cool. I'd be curious. Let us know in the comments or just let us know what your homecoming traditions are. We always had a parade at Grinnell, and I always thought it was the coolest thing. So, just cool to have that recognition. But love homecoming. Great week. Great time. Weather's great. We'll see how everything shakes out. We're getting down into the 70s. It's looking like a good week. So, that's all we got for week 4. Good luck to everyone this week. We got Thursday night games tonight. We got Friday night games. We got Saturday afternoon games. There's games 3 straight days. We will be back on Monday for your recap, and we'll just keep on trucking along. We're almost at halfway through the football season. He's Paul Air, Doug Blake Walker. Have a good week 4. Enjoy your football Friday. We'll see you next week.